Hello? Hi. So by a show of hands, how many are developers here? Okay. You're in the right meetup. How many are indie developers? Okay, couple. How many work in marketing? Okay, good. How many, launch an app and we're happy with the results? Okay. And how many spent money on advertising? Okay. And how many were happy with that? Okay. Okay, it's good. It gives me a good sense of, your experience and who you are. So the problem that we all know is when you build something and you submit it to either the App Store or the Play Store, it doesn't really get users like 95% of the time. And there's like developers are stuck between two myths. Like the first myth is if you build it, you're going to get users. And the second one is the only way to grow your app is by having very large advertising budgets. The reality is somewhere in between. So who am I and why am I talking about this today? So I'm a growth marketer. I've been for quite a long time. I focus on mobile apps, desktop apps, and SaaS and e-commerce. I've scaled apps from $0 in revenue to 100 million per year. Generated over 200 million installs over the years. But I'm also an indie. 2 years ago, I built my first game. It failed massively. We had, I don't know, some 15,000 users, maybe max concurrent players was 1,000, but we didn't have enough retention. And, I spent 2 years building it and it failed. But it was an amazing experience. It was a dream of mine, and I got to build it with two friends, one artist, one developer, and I did the business and the marketing, and the game, like the economy and so forth. I just launched this year a mobile studio, and we just shipped our first app, Kyoki, which is a flashcard app with spaced repetition and with generative AI. So I haven't pushed it really yet. So I understand the challenges of growing something you've put your heart into and not seeing the results. But I've also seen the other side where you start with a team of, 5, making 0 and going to, a few $1 million in revenue per year in a very short amount of time. So I can see the two extremes, and what I want to do is share what I see working today, but particularly strategies that are very friendly to, indies, low budgets type of strategy. So I want to start with probably, I think, the most important thing is the product and what you decide to build. So why most app fails, according to Mark Pincus, who's Zynga's founder and former CEO. So I'll read the quote. All new fails. If all new worked, we'd be using new stuff all the time. But how often do you change what's on the front of your iPhone? How often do the top 10 or 25 apps change? They haven't changed in 8 years because all new fails. 1 million new apps a year, they all fail. It's a sad reality, but it is true. There's a lot of competition out there. And you can't just make a fart app anymore and get, massive success. Like, you need something better. So his realization got him to develop or adopt a new product development framework where he starts with proven, then he moves on to better, and then to new. So proven is you look at what is already working, at existing problems that have been validated and solutions that consumers have adopted, and you take that as your starting point and you make it a little bit better. And only after you have market validation, you have a business, do you actually build something new. And a lot of indies, myself included, failed because we tried to build something new, too new. So start with the proven first, and improve what's already working. And in almost all of the cases of apps that I've seen scale up and that I've had my hands on, almost all of them were exactly that. It started with something proven, and then they made it a little bit better. And only when they had scale did they really innovate and improve. So I guess, how do you find proven demand, right? So proven demand is a problem or a frustration that users really have. And if the users aren't searching for it, if they're not looking for a solution, they're not talking about it or paying for it, it's not demand. You can manufacture demand, but it's very expensive and it takes a lot of time. So instead of manufacturing demand, just tap existing demand. So find a problem that you really can care about, because the only way for you to build something that's a bit better than the competition as an indie is to really go really deep into it and become an expert. You can find proven demand on the App Store, top charts, obviously. You can browse all the non-gaming related categories. You can use tools like AppTweak, AppFigures, Sensor Tower. There's tons of them out there. You can go on Reddit and forums. Users, when they complain about a product, they usually go online to find solutions or alternatives. You can also use Google Ads. They have a free keyword tool that gives you search estimates. So for instance, if you're interested in building, I don't know, a note-taking app, you can go there and you can type note-taking app and see how many people are actually searching for it by country or across the year as well. So there's a bunch of tools to try and validate that the thing you want to build, there's actually demand for it. So now you have a demand, you need to understand whether or not it's worth building. Is the market size big or is it small? Because if it's big and there's a lot of competitors, even if you carve out a small percentage as an indie, it might be enough. But if it's small and has no competition, you just won't get any users. So it's really important to focus on things where there is actual demand. An example I found that I thought was really interesting is CarPlay Connect AutoSync. So it was released in August of this year. And apparently, again, these estimates from Sensor Tower and all these apps are, you take them with a grain of salt. But apparently it's making decent revenue and it's ranked really, really high. And based on the publisher listing and information online, it looks like a single developer who just decided to make a CarPlay Connect AutoSync, and it's just, the keywords are very, very relevant. Does that make sense? It's not sexy and exciting, but it works. Okay, so find top solutions and make one feature better. How do you do that? You can mine reviews. What I mean by that is you can go to the Play Store, you extract the reviews. You can use a scraper to do that. Don't use an LLM because they won't actually scrape unless they actually do scrape it live. Scrape the reviews, scrape thousands, feed it to, let's say, an LLM to get a sentiment analysis and extract like frustrations from users and derive ideas from it. Sometimes it's really easy and you could do it and those bigger companies don't for whatever reason. So you have an advantage as an indie. Yeah, don't reinvent, just make it faster, simpler, reduce friction, give more for free if you can, and really focus on giving frustrated users what they want. Okay, so how do you grow? You have proven demand, you know what you want to work, you've built an app, how do you grow it? So there's a million ways to do it, and it always changes, every season, every year. There's always new strategies. So what I did is use App Store Spy, which is very similar to Sensor Tower, but the API is really cheap. So I just got estimates for about 4,500 apps that were the top grossing 200 across all non-gaming categories in the US. I filtered out everything that looked to be VC funded. And I basically filtered out only the apps that were released in 2025. And I did an analysis of it. And I basically, when I found something interesting, I went and I looked at what were they doing to get their users. Were they doing Apple search ads? Were they doing social media, paid social, Google, et cetera, et cetera. So what I want to talk about here is what seems to be working today for indies. If you want the list, I can give it to you if interested. Okay, so rule of thumb, the vast majority of success is not the result of a growth hack or a series of growth hack. It's 80% of it is really a lot of hard work. So just disclaimer. Okay, so what the 2025 breakout apps have in common is they solve a very clear and simple problem. Like the problem often happens daily, not weekly, not yearly, daily. And the value is perceived almost immediately. User feels relief, confidence after using the app. The title of the app and the subtitle clearly says what it does, like clearly. Almost 600 of the top new grossing apps in the last 12 months, of the top 600, 29 include the word AI. 29% include the word AI, which is really not surprising. And here are some of the most frequent words in app titles, subtitles, It's a long list, and it's very utilitarian. It's very about utility and function. It's, as I said, it's not sexy. It's very clear, direct, descriptive, and that is what has been working. Okay. Example of proven demand, new apps. Okay, so I analyzed the data and grouped it in categories. These are like the top two of some of the top categories: AI meeting notes and transcriptions app. $2 million a month for these new released apps in the last couple months, like in the last year. And the other one, PDF scanner, document tools, which like people always need that, like almost on a daily basis. So the point of this slide is really to emphasize, it's just you need to think about what people need and just give it to them. It's not complicated. I mean, you can make it complicated, but it's not. Okay, product market fit self-diagnostics. Okay, can you answer yes to these? Can a stranger explain your app in 5 seconds? Can the value be felt in less than 30? Does the problem happen weekly or daily? You want daily. Are people already searching for it, Googling it? Does the store listing, when you see the store listing, does the user get immediate relief? Like, that's what I was looking for. So if you answered no to these questions, you might have a problem with your product market fit. Doesn't mean you won't be successful. And this is really for consumer app, right? It's not B2B, it's consumer app mainly. Okay, okay, short form content. So you have an app, it fixes a problem, value proposition is really clear, easy. What should you do? There are many paths, but the one that is really great for indies is short form content. TikTok, Reels, Shorts. And the reason is these kind of level the playing field. Distribution, like how they distribute your content, depends on how good your content is, how engaging it is. And new accounts can do really, really well also. So short form content is almost unanimously the thing that you like, the common thread across so many apps that are consumer apps that are released today and that actually do get a lot of users. And this is something fairly new. It wasn't like this, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. So a single 6 to 12 second clip can outperform weeks of paid UA. That's true. Developers finally get a channel that doesn't require a brand or ad budget. It only takes time, and it does take a lot of commitment, a lot of work. Good content wins, and even if you're introverted like me, you can create content that doesn't require your face. So you just need to find that content. Okay, I'll show you some examples because it's way too abstract. Okay. Oh, whoa. Okay. Wow. Okay, so you want to first find your app's like aha moment, like wow, like that value proposition that the user gets, like, and it clicks in their brain. You need to find that, and it's not easy, but you need to find that and create content around it. So I have 6 examples here. Well, 3 here, 3 on the other side. Tiny Scan. All right, this one could have been a little bit better, but you get the idea. The value proposition. You take a photo, it scans it, and then you can do LLM stuff with it. Sky. This one is new, and I thought it was really interesting. It's hard to see, but you have like the app here at the bottom. And this one got millions of views, and it's AI slop that just blew up massively. So even AI slop can do really well. CalScan. I guess it's a clone of that big app. If you're interested, I have a swipe file over here. So a swipe file is a library of ads. So I just put it together for this meeting. There are like 50 ads across a wide variety of consumer apps. And I think there might be 2 B2B apps over there with like some really good content. Okay. Okay, Nomad Tables, I don't know if you've seen it, but they've been pushing a lot in Korea, and the content's actually pretty good. Okay, TruthSeek. Oh, I misspelled it. Okay, so this one plays on emotions. There's a category of apps that are really popular in the United States that revolve around finding out if your significant other is cheating on you. So you enter the name, and it's going to see, do they have a Tinder profile, or et cetera, et cetera. So there's tons of apps that are doing that now. TruthSeek is one of them. Yeah, it's pretty short. Like there's tons of videos. They're very emotional. They play on that. Kiwi Note is one of those AI tech ed, AI note-taking apps out there. There's tons of them, and it's always the same formula. There's a reaction. There's like, why did I know this before? Or ChatGPT is dead. And then you just see the app in action. And these like actually do get a lot of organic views. It's really short. And the point of like the success of these isn't reliant on a single creative. The one single creative can drive a lot of users. It's consistency. It's repeating it every day, and you need to do it over a month or 2 months every day, and eventually something will happen, and it will start generating installs. You'll get better at it. Also, your content will get better. Okay, slideshows also great if you're introverted like me. You don't need to show your face, and you can deliver a lot of different type of content in a very interesting ways. This is again, this is a channel focused on studying, so apps for students, and it just lists the apps. So you're trying to figure out first, you find your audience, like who is your app for, what content would be valuable for them, and become an expert at it, and then deliver that content. And include also, obviously, your app. Okay, so how to get started? Find your aha moment. Experiment a lot with different types of content. Test different hooks, meaning the first 2 seconds of your video. Always try different things until you find something that really works, and then you double down on it, and then you try to scale that one. Post every day. Break up your Okay, so this is for me, this is the most interesting part. Is you break up your content in components, and then you recycle those components. For instance, if you have a face reaction, if you have a demo video, if you have B-roll, if you have various clips that you use or asset, break it into components, and you can recycle those components, re-edit them in different ways, so it cuts your production time a lot. And there's some science and methodology to all of this. Spend 30 to 60 minutes every day consuming content, actually. Probably the best thing you could do is you open a new account. And in that new account, you just consume content related to your niche, content that your audience would want to consume, and just every day, just consume that content and engage with that content. And what it'll do is it'll serve you content for your niche, but you'll get to understand what your users really care about, and you'll be able to create better content and create your own swipe file, like I did. Okay, so short form content. Why I put it first is because it costs nothing. It just costs your time. But if you have a bit of budget, it doesn't have to be a lot. Apple search ads is probably great for most indies. Google search as well, but Google search is much more complicated than Apple search ads. There's a lot of ways to do a Google campaign. If you're doing an app campaign, it's very different from like a web SaaS type of product. So that's why I didn't include it here. There's a lot of complexities, and Google can really eat your budget like really quickly. But still, it's as good, if not better, I think. So only run when you have monetization. So if you have an app, you want to test it, you need to be able to make money from it. So generally most dev indies have a paywall, they do subscriptions. So make sure you have that before. And with the first test you want to do is you want to validate your product market fit. How many of your users actually see your paywall? Number one, like meaning they go through your onboarding. How many of them actually go and hit the paywall? And of the people who saw your paywall, how many actually opted into a trial? Like, if your percentage is really low, you probably don't have product market fit. If you're advertising on very high intent keywords. So if, let's say, it's a note-taking app, and you're getting users from note-taking app, they see your paywall, and no one's opting into a trial, there's a problem there. But if you have, like, I don't know, a 40% opt-in rate, that's really good. So you have the early signs of product market fit. And you could test this with a really small budget, because the costs per installs are are not as high as you would see on, like, Meta. And if it doesn't work, you can just kill it. And I think when you open a new account, you get maybe $100 in ad credit that you could use. So maybe it's 50. I don't know. It might change. So you could give that a try, but only focus on high intent keywords, like what your users are, like, really high intent, or competitors. Okay, benchmarks. Yeah, I was debating whether to include this, but I thought it could be helpful, because benchmarks are, like, there's a lot of context for it. Like, if you're in US, is different from if you're in Korea. I don't have the Korean numbers. I don't know. My focus really is on US. That's where I make all of my installs. So I don't know. But this is what I guess would be relevant for Apple search ads in the US on utility types of products with high intent campaigns. So okay, so your goal is not necessarily retention or LTV, is really just to see if you have product market fit. And if you do have, like, product market fit, and you're seeing, like, good results, and you're actually getting some users, like, consider what your next step would be as an indie. Like, do you want to put more money into it? If so, make sure you have a good financial plan, because Apple's payment terms are long. And you'll be paying your advertisement before, so you need to kind of plan for that, maybe 90 days of runway for that investment. But it's doable with a bit of planning. And if that works, then you can and your content works, you could start to do paid ads on Meta or TikTok. And that really would kind of supercharge your growth. Okay, maybe not related to paid ads, but community and audience, I think is very great for indies. You need to figure out, like, where are your audience? Where are they? Where are the communities that represent your audience, and try to reach them there. To example, Meetup, which is the original in real life growth hacker, right? To RSVP, you needed to download the app, so don't have a choice. And so it reached offline communities, tech meetups like this one, sports, mom groups, and so forth. To be honest, who's familiar? To be honest, yeah, great, amazing marketing. So to be honest, is an app by Nikita Baer, quite famous. I think he runs product at X now. Yeah. So he had a struggling app studio, and then they made this app finally, and it just blew up, became #1 on the App Store. And after 6 weeks or so, they sold to Facebook for 30 million or something like that. It's a survey app where the app generates predetermined surveys that you send to your friends, like who's the hottest, or who's the most likely to be late at school, or who's the most likely to fail a class, or something like that. But the questions were all positive questions, and they found that their users were adolescents, like people in high school, and when you're in high school, you tend to share a lot of things, and you tend to try a lot of different things. So their strategy was to basically target, influencers in high school, and to follow them on Instagram, but also to advertise to them. And they were incredibly smart at finding where their users actually were, which is in school, and they were able to reach them like with pinpoint accuracy. And it kind of blew up. Okay, so last slide takeaway. Growth isn't hacks. It's a lot of hard work. And in almost all of the cases, it starts with proven demand, at least from my experience. Indies win by being faster, closer to their users, and more focused on what really matters. Find one problem you can solve and that you can really care about. Find one audience with that problem and make one feature better. And invest in building your content skills and content tests Apple search ads or Google ads when you have monetization and want to confirm product market fit. And when you do confirm it, double down on what works, and really watch your financials like really, really, really closely. And only test paid social, which is Meta and TikTok, when your content gets traction. So generally, if you have content that performs really well on paid on organic socials, not just really well in terms of views, but really well in getting users to download your app, that content most likely would perform really well if you put advertising dollar against it. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
All right, do we have some questions for Jerome? I remember we don't have a lot of talks like this at the iOS Meetup about the marketing side of things. We had one a couple of months ago by Fares, and then there was a lot of questions. A lot of people want to build stuff. So any questions for Jerome? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Amazing talk. We're also indie developers running an app, two-person team, doing marketing and so on. The question I had was that you showed some great examples of ads by Fruity, table queuing notes and so on. My big question is, do they post like a brand account or as ads, or like does it have to be as people are already influencers, as creators? Does that matter? Can you just post that like on your brand account? Because obviously the people there are probably not developers like part of the team, right? So is it then still okay to post on a brand account?
I think it depends. There's not like one thing. I've seen there are some developers that have a profile, but with zero content, but they still get a lot of views through accounts that they work with, like they work with students, for instance, or one strategy. And I would only I didn't include it here because that requires like you validated your product market fit, you validated that you can create content, that you understand content. If you understand content and you know like how to actually promote your app, then what you could do is you could scale your content production by hiring students. And there are platforms and networks with mainly like US students where they will basically open an account for you, and they will start to post content related to like your niche. So let's say if it's study talk, they'll create study content and they'll include your product, not necessarily in every post, but they'll include it. Pingo, I don't know if you know Pingo AI. They do a lot of that. Jenny AI, like they all do that strategy. So you can really scale the production by partnering with students. In terms of creators with reach, it has, I think, less value today. That's because a new account can get more reach if the content is good.
Thank you. And secondly, you talked about trials, which I do kind of know all like, kind of a given, but just because we don't currently have a trial, is what you're thinking, like, absolutely must have a trial? And secondly, like, should it be mandatory for app users in general? Because as you said, like, it's so important to show value in like the first 30 seconds, right? And like, if you make people go through trial, they're afraid that they won't see that. So like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, how does your app make money?
Subscriptions mostly.
But you don't have a trial. It's just like
Yeah.
okay, so you have a hard paywall.
Premium, yeah.
Okay. I mean, it could work, but you'll convert less.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Thanks. My name is, I wanted to ask you about the revenue model. I'm trying to build a personal finance app tracker and trying to think, do I go with a subscription, freemium, or just put ads? What's your take on this approach?
Yeah.
Revenue model.
Yeah. Ad models. So you have the subscription, you have the ad model, and you have the hybrids, right? The ad models require a lot of budget, a lot of cash flow, because your hope is your users you're gonna get more engagement and more users, and they're gonna keep using your app over and over on an extended period of time. So every day they use your app, you'll get a little, like a bit of revenue, right, through the ads. So besides the fact that you need to manage that ad stack, which has some complexities, you need more scale to actually generate revenue, and so your revenue is actually really deferred over a long period of time, and it can work. Like, I've seen ad model products only scale really, really, really big, but the cash requirements to do that type of business are pretty heavy, and they do require some pretty complex financial modeling, I think. The subscription model is much easier, I think, but that's my opinion. I mean, it really depends on how your product is built, what your retention is, what is the value of your users. If you're, like financial products, there's a wide range of financial products. So, but generally, yes, ad models are, I think, generally more for users, like apps that have very high DAUs. Like, you need really high DAUs for an ad model, and good cash reserves.
Thanks for that.
Okay.
First of all, I thank you for nice presentation, and I'm curious. As your presentation, there is the program happens daily, weekly, and monthly. Did you remember? Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yes. Okay, yeah.
Daily, weekly, and
Mm-hmm,
monthly
yeah,
is better than program yearly.
yeah.
I have no idea why.
Ah, okay. Okay. What do you buy yearly?
Because it's supposed to, I suppose, program happens year is less than program happens
Exactly.
daily, weekly, monthly. Why that is better than you? That's my
Yeah. So if you're trying to make a product for a problem that happens yearly, you're taking the whole population, and you're taking a small slice of that population. because the problem happens yearly, people aren't experiencing the problem right now, right? So let's say yearly, maybe not yearly, but buying a car is an example. Like you don't buy a car every day, you buy a car every few years. So if you want to sell a car, how many people here are in the market for a car right now? Like probably not a lot. So it's harder to find those people. And usually what you're selling yearly is really expensive. And expensive things are more difficult also to market because there's much less room for error. But if the problem is daily, then everyone is potentially your user. I think, yeah. Yeah, yes, exactly. And when users have a problem, they look for a solution. And so if they're not looking for a problem now, you can't find them. Even if they're, maybe in a month I'll be looking for a car, but I'm not looking now. So I'm not, you won't know I'm in the market for it. So it's very difficult.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And on this one, I have an interesting example. When I was based in Japan before, there is one app that everyone was using something for when you file for taxes, and then they had like maybe just a $9 monthly payment, and everyone used to submit the tax only once a year, and everyone was using the app one time. They were purchasing the monthly plan, and then after the tax, just cut it the next year, so they were making money pretty much like 1 month. They have to do extra other features to make it like daily or weekly or monthly because people were spending money only on that month and cutting the subscription, and the next year we activate it.
Yeah, that's a much better example.
Hi, so I'm having opposite problem. I've been working on TikTok marketing and ASA ads for quite some time now, and I'm at a point right now where I'm getting commission returns on social media channels. So I build educational apps, and I work with TikTok influencers. But I'm at a point right now where it's like no matter how much content I'm putting out, I'm getting commission returns on TikTok, as well as how much I optimize for ASA. So what is your strategy whenever you exhaust out on your marketing channel?
Was it working before?
And
You said diminishing returns. Does it imply it was working before and then it stopped working?
as an example, on the TikTok, I bring in about 40 grand on a specific app just through TikTok marketing, but increasing the amount of content that I'm putting out is having not as much of an effect as the ramp up. So my thought is that I'm getting to a point where I'm exhausting that channel, so I don't understand what that could be a market cap size.
Yeah.
Or if I should move on to something else.
Did you look at your audience if it has changed, or it could also be, as you said, saturation or fatigue, like creative fatigue. It could be that. Did you try to create different styles or different concepts?
Not yet. That's
Okay,
nice.
so maybe that could be it. But it's really hard to say with that amount of details. But on the Apple search ads issue, what's the challenges that you're experiencing?
The challenge there is, as I'm spending more money on ASA, the actual traffic that's coming in is actually also diminishing as well. So my belief is that the specific educational apps I'm working on, those are reaching the market cap too.
Well, 40,000. I mean, the educational market is really big.
Mm-hmm.
So 40,000 a month is.
Well, 40,000 just through TikTok. That's one project. On ASA, this is a different project. I'm reaching about 100 grand per month, and so around that point, it's if I were to double my ad spend, it's not like I'm going to get 200.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be a saturation issue, but it's hard to say. I'd have to have more information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
100 grams a month. We have an open critique right up there.
Hi. I'm in the early stage of my publishing ad right now, and as a marketing, for marketing, I'm trying to focus on TikTok and Instagram, creating accounts. But you have mentioned here, to create engagement videos for more reach. But my question is how about the creating the brand accounts, so which provides the some value to the users, so it will have longer long-term engagement in terms of the AI small videos, right? So I'm middle of thoughts which one should I choose? Should I be more creative and brand or brand around the brand of Instagram account, or just create the AI small video for more engagement?
Yeah. Well, so what's how do you find brand, and what's the value of brand?
For example, if we think about Duolingo or Canva or other apps, so they have Instagram and TikTok accounts specifically to provide the values to their users, about the features, for example, or some use or how to use it. This kind of information they provide, so they users all these real, kind of they come back to see the page. So I think maybe conversion will be higher than the AI small video, because they just see it and scroll, see it.
Yeah.
Scroll.
It could be, but I mean, Duolingo is and Canva is they're very big. They're very big. Well, but it has as a brand is a subjective concept. It doesn't really exist physically. It's a cultural understanding of a cultural entity associated with a business, and because Duolingo, Canva, and all these are actually really big, they're people know them. It's always going to perform better. So building a brand takes a really, really, really long time, and it also is a function of your success. So it's not. And this is my own opinion. I don't think if you build a brand well, you will be successful, because you might not have users. You create a lot of content, it looks nice, but the brand really exists because you have users, and you have users that understand your product a certain way and that see it a certain way. It's an organic, I guess, type of cultural entity. So I think if you just focus on building talking to your audience, whatever way you decide is appropriate for you, in a way that actually addresses their problems and offers solutions to that problem. And if you do it, if you just focus on that enough repeatedly, I think you will be building your brand. So my own opinion.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, so you said that you helped a lot of apps to scale, but you also make your own mobile game, and I was wondering if you have tips for more indie game developers, and how do you have different tips, because it might be different market?
So I always wanted to build a game before, and so my growth marketing business doing really well, so I have money to invest. So I reached out to two friends, and we just decided to build a game together. And it was a passion project. We didn't care about making money. We just wanted to build a PvP mastery game, real-time mastery game, Match Masters, but in real time. And it took us a year to build it, and when we launched, we got up to, I don't know, almost 15,000 users, and a lot of players were playing. Like we had players play several thousand games, so we thought we had success. But the issue and what I learned is our game was too difficult, and we were trying to do a category defining game, because there was no real-time PvP match 3 game. It was always like turn-based, and that turn-based match 3 works, but real-time PvP. And for us, that distinction was like we didn't understand that it was a cognitive difference that was so big that people would not understand our game, because we understood our game. We played it, we loved it, and the lesson that I learned is that sadly, because gaming is a creative product, and you never really know what's going to work and what's not going to work. So what tends to happen, from my perspective, is people just create the same game over and over and over again, and it's not. I think a lot of people want to create different games, but it's just too risky to create a category-defining game. So if I had to build a game again, and I wanted to actually make money, I would take something proven, and I would do it better. Either skin it, like create a concept that appealed to a new type of audience, but with similar mechanics, and I would go a bit deeper on the economy.
I see. And in terms of marketing, would you also do the same advice that you gave today? Or
No. Gaming is very paid ads, at least from what I see. It's very hard to build a game and get organic installs, because it's too complicated.
We have a last question for you.
But sorry, there are some exceptions. Social games, games that involve like people in high school, for instance, can do really well. Like quizzes, or there's a game called Splashin'. It was number one. It's number one in the U.S. So the U.S. has like just go on TikTok, type Splashin', and you'll see tons of content. So that's an example of a game that's where the app connects people in real life, and those type of games produce really good organic content, because the content is integrated inside of the game. Like to actually play the game and submit, like score points, you need to take a video and post it to the app. So these type of games I think are interesting.
So this is not my question, but what you just said brought up another question. Do you know, like, there's ads that you see on TikTok and Instagram with the games, but they're like
Fake games?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not real, and they're like enraging to watch someone play because they're so bad at it. I was like, well, what are those there for?
Oh.
You said it.
Yeah, the fake ads type of games.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. The comments say these games aren't real. Like, why are they here?
Oh, yeah.
Games that can feel the answer, but they, on purpose they play badly to make
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, it's just a gimmick to get lower CPMs and click-through rates and lower CPIs. It gets people like angry, and it triggers people.
Okay.
So when you're triggering people, you're triggering engagement.
It's the same when you have like video and a fake hair.
Yeah, exactly.
You try to take it out by seeing the video, just
Yeah, it's like I don't know, like misspellings or saying something not true or fake. Like it gets more engagement.
Okay, well, that was successfully triggered.
Yeah.
I guess my real question is, you mentioned that you have like an app studio. I just wanted to kind of like get your experience on that. How did you kind of get started in that? With that, what does the team look like?
Well,
What are your goals?
okay. Well, the team is just me and one developer right now in Canada, and I opened it in the US. We have our app, like Kyoki, which is a space repetition flashcard app. I built it because I can really care about learning Korean. I don't speak Korean, so I've been trying to figure it out. And I guess when I told him I was gonna start building apps, I told him I'm gonna build an app every month, like just a small app, and just validate that there's demand for it, and if there's demand, I'll invest into actually building it. In the end, like the 1 month ended up being like 4 months and 5 months, because just like the scope just exploded. But my goal with this is to build, to basically build apps that I would personally use. Mainly, I like education, and I like things that are that help people live their lives more freely, I guess. From yeah, education is something that I really would like to do more.
Thank you.
All right, and to close this, I want to ask two questions. The first one would be, so you tried, you are a growth hacker, marketer, and so on, and you have a developer, but I guess a lot of the people here are just developers. So if you had to give them like one tip, what should they invest on right now? One thing that should give them like the best ROI. If they have an app that they release tomorrow, what's the number one thing simplest them to do? And the second one is, this is a question I would like to ask to the developers. What's your threshold in terms of how long should I wait until I discard this app and I say, okay, that's not going to work, it's too long. Because sometimes you say, oh, if in 1 week it doesn't work, but 1 week is not enough. So what's your threshold? Like 3 months, 6 months, what?
So first question, what's the one thing with the highest ROI right now?
Like, open a TikTok account and post, or
yeah. And the second thing was like how long you want to do it.
What's your validation time frame?
Okay. I think short form content is the number one thing. But that's also assuming you have monetization. Because if you get a lot of users and you don't have monetization, what do you do with that? I mean, maybe that's your goal. The second question about how long, I think that's really up to you. It depends how much you've invested into it, how much like you care about it, how much you believe in it. For my game that failed, I put in almost 2 million won. Is it 2 million? No, $200,000. How much is $200,000? That 200 million won. 200 million won. And at a certain point, I said I can't anymore. And but it took us about a year. And my co-founders were for like 6 months. Like they were not getting any money because I decided it was enough. But I still believed in the product, and I could still work on it as long as no one was getting paid. So I think it's a personal question, and it depends how much you can, I guess, tough it out in terms of like finances, paying your bills, and so forth. If you can last long and you still believe in it, go ahead. But if you can't, then maybe not.
All right, thanks. And for more questions, you can ask Jerome during the networking. Thank you so much, Jerome.
Thank you.